Okay, 2006 Sienna cat converter. Yeah, it's not as bad as it looks. It's actually really easy. One of the easier things on this engine. First, we're going to take the heat shield off. This is a 10mm bolt. There's an upper and lower heat shield. We're going to take the top off right now. There's three 10mm bolts. Go ahead and get these down here. Okay, so once you get the bolts off, you go ahead and pull the lower part back. Pull the top part off, and that will expose the exhaust bolts. Let's go ahead and cover the O2 sensor and spray the exhaust bolts with some lubricant. This will make them easier to come off and prevent them from breaking. Exhaust bolts are infamous for breaking and stripping out because they're so, they heat up and down so much. The temperature changes and they get rusty. It's just good to spray, and we'll spray these and then come back to them after the lubricant's penetrated a little bit. Okay, so while that's sitting on the bolts, let's go ahead and remove the oxygen sensor, or disconnect it, I shall say. We're going to be leaving it in the exhaust for now, and I'm going to go ahead and remove this airbox duct, just so I can get easier access to the connector. The connector is it's in there a little tight, so I'm just going to get in there and try to use a pocket screwdriver to undo it. I need to remove this sensor off the air duct first. Okay, pull that off. There's a little more access to the sensor connector. Yeah, so simply just get a little flathead in there, pull the tab, and it comes right out. You shouldn't be prying on it too hard. And then also there's a little black connector, it's a connector holding the wire in a guide. Go and undo that and get that all undone. Okay, so let's go to the bottom, and we'll go ahead and spray the bolts on the bottom too. Same thing, let's cover the O2 sensor so it doesn't get sprayed on. That could damage it. Go ahead and get my bolts sprayed with lubricant to help prevent them from stripping and breaking. Alright, so there's 6 exhaust bolts, 3 on the top, 3 on the bottom. They're 14mm. I'm going to go ahead and break them free right now and get all these off. You can go ahead and get yours off right now too. I'm using a deep 14 and a 2-inch extension. And also, if you have like an air ratchet or something, you can use that after you break them loose to assist you. Go ahead and get these off. Okay, so I got my exhaust nuts off, all 6 of them, 3 on the top, 3 on the bottom. Now there's a bolt down here I gotta get. It's a 14. I'm trying to. Here's a view from the bottom. Yeah, sorry, I know the view's not that good, but it's right here, and it's a 14. We're gonna have to get that off because that's attached to the exhaust. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull that out too. Again, this is on the bottom, near the bottom of the exhaust. You can get it from the top with some long extensions. I'm just down here at the bottom. I'll go and pull it out. That's what it looks like. Alright, now I'm going to remove the bottom nuts on the exhaust. They're 14s as well. Okay, got them off. Alright, let's see if we can pull this off a little bit. See what happens. It can be a little stubborn sometimes. Alright, yeah, see, just wiggle it off there. And there's a little gasket in here that should be replaced. So we got some room. Now let's try to wiggle this off. It can be stubborn as well. Just kind of got to wiggle it, massage it. Don't pry on it too hard. You can damage something. Okay, so it's getting stuck. I'm thinking I'm going to take this bolt out right here. I think if I can get that bolt out, it's a Torx head. I'm sorry, it's not a bolt, it's a stud. I'm going to use this Torx socket to pull the stud out. Be very gentle. And I feel like if I get this stud out, I'll be able to get the exhaust off. Seems to be holding it up. Alright, yeah, see, here it comes. So to get this off easier, you can remove that stud. Go ahead and pull it out. And there we go. Put that there. Alright, go and get the exhaust manifold gasket off. These can be kind of a pain too. I mean, sometimes they slide right off, sometimes they want to, be stubborn. You can just pry them off or cut them off with some dikes. Yeah, to use some dikes to get it off. Alright, so these surfaces need to be smoothed for the new gasket, so I'm going to go ahead and wire brush these and clean them off with some paper, like scuffing paper, like something like this. Not sandpaper like this, but something fine like this. Or a wire brush works great too. So I'm just going to go ahead and spend some time cleaning these, and you can do the same now too. Yeah, get them nice and smooth and get all that brown ring. That brown ring should be gone. It should be just like nice and shiny. So I'm going to go ahead and just show you what it looks like afterwards. See, it looks all nice and clean. You don't see that brown ring from where the exhaust was. Okay, here's a new part. That's the new cat part for this. There's a part number there. Let's go and get our new cat out and switch over the O2 and the exhaust manifold. I mean the exhaust shield, the lower shield. So yeah, the O2 sensor just comes right out. It's a 22, so we'll go ahead and get a 22 on there. I use a 22 pipe wrench, and I just stand on the exhaust and undo it. Also, I'm gonna get the heat shield off too. See, I'm just standing on it and turning it. Get that off, and I'll just hand spin it out. I'll put a little anti-seize on the threads. Hand start it in and just tighten it with there you go. And also put the lower shield on as well. Yeah, so here's the exhaust gaskets. One for the top, one for the bottom. I'll go ahead and put my new exhaust manifold gasket on top. Just be gentle not to damage it. Just slide it on. And yep, should look like that. It's a one-way gasket. Go ahead and put my stud back in. And I might have to take this stud back out if I can't get the exhaust back on, but I'll put it in for right now and see if I can get lucky. Again, it's a Torx head. Alright, so down there you can see the exhaust gasket down there. We gotta clean that up just like we did the top. Get that ring off. It's a little ring gasket. Pry it off. There it goes. And I'm gonna clean the area and make it nice and smooth for my new one. It doesn't have to be perfect as much as the top one. And here's the new gasket for down there. I'm gonna put it on top of it, and it should like kind of not snap on, but it should fit in there like pretty tight to where it won't fall out if you bump it. So I'm gonna push it on. There it goes. Alright. Alright, so yeah, to get my exhaust on, I had to take that stud out again. So I'll just recommend keeping it out until you get your exhaust on and then putting it in. And now I'm putting it back in. Thought I could get lucky, but now I'm going to just go and put it back in. And here it is in. I'm going to go ahead and connect these down here. Oh, I forgot to put these on. Let's go ahead and get these out and put new ones in. Yeah, these ones are stuck actually, so I'm going to get some new ones. Yeah, sorry, I forgot to mention that. So I'm going to go ahead and thread these in. You could also use some bolts, if you don't have these, if you don't have access to these studs, you could just use some bolts that you find, make sure they're a good fit and snug. Alright, so I got my nuts on, my 14s on the bottoms there. So I put them on snug, I didn't tighten them down all the way. I'm going to go ahead and put all of these on, you know, just snug. And then once everything's in place and I know everything's going to line up and nothing's going to catch, I'll tighten everything down. So I got my 3 nuts on top, my 3 nuts on the bottom, they're 14 millimeters. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and tighten them down. You can do the same. And when you tighten them, do it in like a star pattern. Don't just do it from left to right, because then the manifold won't sit flush. Just, you know, go from like a star pattern, you know, bottom left to bottom right, and, you know, up on the left, you know, stuff like that. Okay, now I'm going to go and tighten down my bottoms all the way. Put my 14 bolt back over here on the side where I got it out from. Okay. Let's go ahead and put my O2 sensor back in. Just run the wire back where it came from. You could use the black guide. Just plug it back in and then plug the connector back in. Alright, I got that in. Put my upper heat shield back on. It's just 3 10mm. There's a nut down here and then 2 10mm bolts. Alright, I got those in. Go ahead and put my air manifold duct back on. Plug in my purge sensor guide. Alright. Everything looks good, everything in place. Go and start it up, let it run. You know, take it around the block. Make sure everything's no noises, no exhaust noises. It'd be like loud puffing noises. And